Hey, how's it going, Scott?
All right, how are you?
Hey, brother.
Good
Thanks
to
for having
see
me
you.
on. Dig the Maiden shirt, bro. That's dope.
Yeah, man, I dig your maiden cover.
Oh, sweet. You checked it out. Fuck yeah. Awesome,
Oh,
man.
hell yeah. That was
Dude,
killer.
dude, thank you.
Absolutely.
Fuck
Very
yeah.
cool.
Appreciate it, dude.
Absolutely, man. You are a busy man. Let me introduce you for everybody. It's a long introduction for you. You've done so much, man. I have Dan Murphy of All Good Things here with me. All Good Things music has been featured in video games like Mortal Kombat, Super Bowl broadcasts, billions of advertising, television shows on every network you can possibly imagine. The original version of their single For the Glory has reached over 100 million streams across digital platforms. 100 million. The new version of the song, recorded with the Hollywood Undead, will appear in the upcoming film The Retaliators. And All Good Things has a full length album set for release later this year. Dan Murphy, you are a busy man, my friend.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. I mean, as much as
Wow.
we've been at home and sitting around waiting for this virus to end, it has been a busy few months and years kind of leading up to this album, really. Yeah, super excited, dude. We've been waiting to release the full length forever. It feels like we've been playing the waiting game just endlessly. But we're penciling in finally an album release date for August, September of this year. Not sure exactly when, but hopefully this fall, hit the road, play a bunch of shows, and put the album out.
Man, that is cool. And you guys got a really, really interesting story. I get the one sheet in the email and I'm like, okay, this is something I've never read before. And it says, your debut full length album. And then I go find music from you guys, and there's like a lot of stuff there. So if you could just kind of lay out the basic story of the band for me.
Yeah, totally, man. It is kind of a confusing situation. We're a unique band because we started out not necessarily a band. We started out as a studio project
Mhm.
that was mainly just for licensing. It was just, hey, let's get together, bash out some hard rock tunes, just have a lot of fun with it in the studio, record them, and give them to this company we work with called Extreme Music, who did a great job, still do licensing all our stuff all over the place. They're the reason we get on all these TV shows and kind of sporting events and stuff that we never even really know what's going on. But yeah, in the beginning, it was just us throwing music out there and not thinking twice about it. And honestly, when I was recording the first songs, we didn't even have like a band name. Maybe they knew it was called All Good Things, but I didn't even know it was called that through the very beginning. So we started throwing some music out, and our first EPs, we didn't even call ourselves All Good Things. We just put them out as Battle Rock on iTunes. It said the band name, but people started to hear those songs and be like, who is this band? Who are you guys? Where are you from? And we really didn't know this is kind of bubbling in the background until I think the second Battle Rock came out, and a couple songs called Get Up and Fight did really well for us. They got a few million streams and started getting these YouTube videos where people were making these like animated music videos or anime music videos or game music videos and kind of uploading their own imagery to our music. And then just started kind of bombarding us with these messages saying like, who are you guys, like when are you gonna go? And like we didn't even have a photo of ourselves. We had this gas mask photo we'd been using.
Right.
So it took a lot of pressure from the fans to be like, dude, when's your next album? Where are you guys playing? When are you touring? Like, where are you from? It was just the overwhelming amount of support. And then we eventually just kind of talked about it like, hey, we got to actually take this to stage and make it a real thing.
That's pretty cool. That is really great. Why do you think a lot of bands, I'll say bands, but I mean musicians, like session guys,
Yeah.
why do you think groups don't license their stuff, like through Extreme Music and stuff like that? Is it that they don't think about that, because that's been lucrative for you guys?
Hey, it's a great question because in the beginning, I mean, I knew nothing about licensing. I'll be completely honest with you. I was just in a band from Montana. I was born and raised in Montana, and I toured down here to LA a whole bunch. And it was always my goal to move here as a musician and do I've been booking my own tours and playing crappy dive bar shows my whole life for the most part. So I never really knew the licensing side of things. I luckily met Andrew and Liz, who are my guitarists and bassist and also songwriters, producers. I was lucky enough to meet them, and really they introduced me to the licensing world. They already had a company that had been writing a ton of music, and they brought me in and said, hey man, you want to sing on some stuff? It was super hard in the beginning, I'll be honest, because everything I wrote was always like very personal, and like, you know, I overthought everything, and every word that came out of my mouth had to really have a ton of meaning. And in
Right.
the beginning, it was so hard to separate yourself from that. I'm not saying with All Good Things. Before All Good Things, I even was doing like pop, like some really like pop or folk, or like just totally different genres that I was never comfortable writing before. And that was cool. It's just, you know, your writing muscle is a muscle. It's like you just start to exercise it in new ways that you never had before. And I spent a few years just kind of writing with different writers around LA and producers, and just coming up with cool songs before All Good Things and stuff. And I feel like it kind of worked that muscle. And I just wasn't all focused on a band. I still had bands in the background, but I started
Right.
kind of like branching out and trying to do the other things. And that's what All Good Things was. While I was doing bands in the background, it was just one of these licensing projects I had a lot of fun doing. I was like, hey, dude, I used to grow up doing hard rock and screaming in my first bands. And first bands I toured with, I was always screaming. And eventually Andrew and Liz, after like a year or two, they were like, dude, we need a screamer. Do you know anybody? And they're asking my drummer. And the drummer's like, dude, ask Dan, he'll do it. And he's not the right fit for this. And I was like, dude, let me try. And I, you know, long story short, we had multiple singers in the beginning, and long story short, I ended up taking the lead singer role after a few years. But it's been an interesting journey, man. It's a weird back to front kind of band, you know, it's
It
different.
is. I mean, it's really cool. You know, like I say, I mean, it hit my desk in the email, and I was like, wow, that's a story I haven't heard, and it's a really great one. You know, it's something that I think a lot of bands don't think about, is licensing their music. You know, not that it's easy,
Yeah,
but you
it's
know,
a different way of thinking about it. You're not thinking about selling downloads or you know, streams or merch necessarily, and really, it's all just for the love of it, man. It's not like I'm like getting paid. I don't know where it ends up. I get royalties like somewhere down the line. It's not like I'm, you know, it's just really for the love of writing music and keep myself busy, you know, just the licensing and just the release. It's been really nice just to be creative. And there's really no better feeling than finishing a song, no matter what genre it is, and like releasing it and letting people hear it. It's like the greatest feeling in the world.
I bet it is. I bet it is. And one thing I noticed with, you know, because I've watched some of like the Volvo ads and things like that with your music, and you know, the Lucifer show. You know, they just throw it in the background. You're not sacrificing your sound necessarily, if per se. You know, they're tunes, and they're really good tunes on their own that are just used in these things. You know, you're not talking about surfboards and
No,
bikinis, and you know, I
no.
mean, it's not.
Exactly. And a lot of people get really confused by the term library music. It's a very, you know, we always joke that it's like not a sexy thing. People don't like to talk about it and really figure out what it is. But, you know,
Yeah,
there's so many talented producers I've worked with that have written so many great songs, and, you know, the licensing kind of world around LA and stuff like that. It's like, it's just been a cool, unique way for me to meet a bunch of people in LA and, you know, write a bunch of cool stuff and put it out. But we've
yeah.
never been given like, yo, you got to write a song about this, or, you know, it needs to sound like this. In the beginning, it was more kind of like, hey, we need every section to be different and syncable and unique and hooky enough where it can stand on its own. So maybe like the back
Okay.
half of the bridge could be licensed just as much as the second half of the second verse or something. So
Right.
that's why, like, songs like Get Up were, you know, some of our more popular early ones, but they were just kind of out there. They were weird. We had like a tempo change in the end of it and a big old guitar solo and scream. And like, we were just never overthinking anything. We're like, what would be weird here? Let's just do something weird here. Or let's throw in like a scream rap or like over this like crazy riff. And it was just kind of having fun. And like, you know,
That's cool.
our process in the studio has always been, you know, us sitting around and dinking around, and someone comes up with like just a sound on a synth or a guitar, and it's just like, dude, record that before you forget it, and then we'll start building on that and just turn it into, you know, For the Glory, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. And For the Glory is huge for you guys. And I wanted to ask you, you know, you've re-recorded it with Johnny Three Tears and Charlie Seam
Yeah.
from Hollywood Undead. Uh, they put their own spin on that breakdown in the end, towards the end there. How did the song change for you? You know, what did they add to the song that necessarily wasn't there before?
Yeah, well, when we were looking for a collab, it's funny how that song came together. For the Glory was like the easiest song to write on the album. For whatever reason, it was like sent down from the gods, and it was like, here's the song. You write this. I wrote the bridge in like 20 minutes. Like, I just remember stepping out of the studio and I just went on my phone. And I was like, it's the easiest thing. It was so weird. And so I went back and we spit it and we put it out, and it was this, you know, really successful song, which was awesome. I love screaming. I've done rapping and stuff like that. I never really consider myself like a rapper, right? But I do have a lot of those sections where syncable and unique and they stand out on the record.
Right.
But that was always the goal, was like, dude, this song's massive and we have this cool bridge. And we just wanted a unique artist that could do their own thing and bring their own energy to the bridge and kind of make it their own and take similar fan base like Hollywood Undead has and bring it to our song. And dude, we literally gave them no instruction. We sent them the song. We're like, hey man, write something cool over this. And they sent back the one version, the one take, and it was a done deal. So we just needed to find like a unique energy. And we let them do their thing. They even like extended the bridge and like rapped over the whole guitar solo and stuff and like made it their own. So we're stoked with the way it turned out.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Thanks, man.
Have you seen the Retaliators sequence it's going to be in?
No, I haven't. I can't wait, man. I'm excited. I actually have a little cameo in the movie too. I got to fly out to Vegas and be a gas station clerk for a short scene, which will be interesting. Never done the acting thing, so that was a lot of fun being a part of the film and kind of seeing the other side of just being on the other side of the camera. Yeah, it was just a cool experience, man. I'm really grateful they invited us to be a part of it. But I know I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen any clips. The only thing I've seen literally is what's been spliced in our music video. So the intro for the Glory video is about all I know about it. So yeah, I can't wait, man. Hopefully this fall I'll be able to do a big screening with a bunch of these bands and check it out. I know there's a lot of the labels bands that are pretty much the soundtrack is a bunch of kick-ass hard rock. So it'll be a lot of fun.
That's cool. And it's got to be cool, even like, your Volvo commercials and stuff like that. And, all the ads that you guys do, to see your music being adapted to something that you hadn't planned necessarily. It's got to be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. And it happens just endlessly. It's so crazy. Like I was unfamiliar with anime music videos and game music videos. And, if you're not familiar with them, it's just basically people taking, footage from their games and things that they think visually would match our music. And there's so many of those videos on YouTube with hundreds of thousands of streams, and they're all really well edited and like just insane. I'm falling down my own like wormhole a few times as well. Videos people put together, and yeah, it's just crazy. And with TV too, again, we never really know where it ends up. And I'm a big hockey guy, and it's been licensed to the playoffs this year, NHL playoffs. And I mean, for me, dude, like,
how cool is that?
Been like, I kind of feel like I might have peaked there, where like watching hear my song, like, can it get any cooler than that? Honestly, so
no doubt.
Yeah, hopefully we're on the way up, and I didn't peak there. But I mean, that's one of the greatest just experiences. Like, I mean, I always wrote that song as the dream. It'd be like dropped at like a puck drop or something, or just be played for 5 seconds in a face off.
Isn't that cool?
For the playoffs, dude, and it's like full blast with our band name, and it's just real, dude. It's just such a cool thing.
Yeah, man, that's way cool. You're enhancing the game, and the game enhances the song a little. It's kind of that.
I hope that's how everyone feels.
Yeah,
I want to go play the final now. That's our next goal. We're putting the feels out there.
That's too awesome, man. That is way cool. Now you guys are 100 million on For the Glory over digital platforms. Now, I mean, I'm 52. My generation, of musicians and artists, even a little bit older, are really turned off by the Spotify thing. A lot of them are. They feel like it's an unfair portion that they're given, that 0.04 cents per play or something. You guys are in 100 million in that. Do you feel like you're being treated fairly in the way Spotify gives you royalties for that?
If you asked me when I was in my like high school band and touring around, like, hey dude, in 10 years or whatever, you're gonna have a few 100 million plays on you, I would assume I'd have my own house at this point. But I'll be honest, I'm really not making any money. We're actually kind of still digging ourselves out of holes. So like yeah, honestly, this has been a passion project. I've still really never made any money. I get some licensing money on the back end, but you'd be surprised. It's like not crazy money. It's always kind of but I can't ever complain. I'm not complaining at all because I'm so grateful. These songs end up in so many people's ears. I never expected. It's insane. Going back to the Spotify thing though, it is mind blowing when you start thinking about, like, I forget exactly the number, but it's just so many millions and millions of streams to go gold now, when back in the day, just buying an album or something like that. I love the convenience of Spotify. I love how it introduces you to new bands and new artists, and you can find a bunch of cool stuff instead of going to a record store and browsing through. But I do miss the artwork, man. I loved having artwork and being able to go through booklets and I also,
Credits, liner notes,
dude,
man.
everything about it, and like learning about the band and the thank yous and
Yeah.
who produced it, and like, why does this song sound different than this one? Oh, it was produced by this guy, or it was mixed by this guy, and it was like,
Yep.
oh, well, that makes sense. And I love that kind of thing, and I think I lost that personally with you just falling into like I have Apple Music, but I only do it because I can shuffle all my music, and I'm like, I call it music ADD because I rarely sit through the whole album anymore. I'm just bouncing around, and it'll be like death metal, James Taylor, to like, it's just the most random selection of music.
Yeah.
But it's great. I mean, yeah, I'm a 50-50 on there, man. It's I'm grateful for how much the algorithm has been so generous to us and got us in so many ears. So
Right.
there's ups and downs. It is a different world, though. It's crazy.
It is. It really is. And I think about that. And, I have a colleague friend of mine that is a musician. He reached 100 or a million plays, nowhere near 100 million, but a million plays. And he got like a $4,500 check. And I thought, well, that's not horrible. But he was saying that it's not sustainable. It's gone then. And your song is most likely going to peak, and then it doesn't build, or it's a slow build, and then it's gone. It's not something that pays you monthly, So
yeah.
That's
It's hard because back in the iTunes days, it was like kind of transitioning out of records and everything. And I had a band that I remember like monthly. I was still in high school when we were touring. I remember one time we hit like $3,600 a month in downloads. And to me, I was like, holy crap, we're onto something, man. Like,
right.
at the time, it was a ton of money, and we were like, we're taking off. I remember it just kind of like I saw that peak, and we're like, oh, I guess we had that push, and that's
Right.
the new world. And it's just crazy how you build up these numbers on these platforms. Like, everyone built their MySpace to the point where you're like, all right, check out, we're millions. It's not, if you got million on MySpace, you're legit and all this. And,
Right.
You keep building these platforms, hopefully they'll stay around, because it is crazy what the numbers do mean when you're trying to push a song. Like just having the Spotify numbers and everything. It is really important. It's ammunition really for the industry. So hopefully it'll stick around. And there's just so many different platforms with Deezer and Amazon Music and YouTube Music and everything.
Right. Yeah, but there is, man. There is a ton, and you guys are killing them all, man. I mean, it's really cool.
Thanks, dude.
It is cool. Tell me about your musical journey. Where did you start? What were your early influences? Did you start singing, or I see guitars and stuff? Yeah, play.
I started just wanting to play guitar, man. I never wanted to be a singer. I grew up in Montana, outside of Helena, and I started my first band, I think 6th grade or something like that. I know it's funny. I was pretty much with most of those members until just a few years ago, but all good friends of mine. We did a bunch of touring. We started with covers and then went to like a hard rock band, and then more to like a Warped Tour kind of sounding, like more pop punky kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Kind of transitioned, did a bunch of that stuff. But I mean, over the years, in the beginning, I wasn't the singer. We split it 50-50. And me and my buddy would always kind of like, half and half it. And I always kind of got feedback, not to be a dick, but they were like, oh, dude, your buddy's a little pitchy, man. You should like kind of slow. I was pitchy too. I'm not saying I wasn't. I was a terrible, the worst singer in the world. And I was squeaky and awful. And it really took me a lot of years to iron that out. I still don't know if I'm the greatest singer, but I mean, it's just in the beginning, it was just touring around Montana, dude, and writing our own music. And then it was touring to Seattle and back, and then it was touring to California and back, and then we did a couple of cool country things and back, and then it was like, all right, we're moving to LA. So I moved to LA about 11 years ago, and maybe 12 years ago now. And dude, was still doing the same thing here, playing local venues, toured a little bit, not as much as I would have liked to, and then started a bunch of side projects. I was singing for Shaun White, the snowboarders band, for like a year and a half. Bad Things. Never released any of that, but that turned into another side project, the After Show I'm working on, and then All Good Things. And I've just been busy, man. Got a lot of music friends in LA that have been just super talented and a lot of fun to create and write with.
Yeah, that's cool. When you guys decided to, you were doing the songs for licensing and stuff, and you decided to become the band, did that change the band dynamic at all? Did you guys still approach it the same way and just kept doing what you were doing, or did that kind of change things a little?
Not necessarily. I mean, it was always just kind of, it was in the beginning, we never, like, we actually took me and Liz, we found all the numbers online, and we told Andrew, our guitarist, we're like, dude, we got to play that. Like, let's just book a show. Like, we booked a show in the Valley here in LA, and it was like just this outdoor kind of like fair thing. And we played some covers like AC/DC and stuff, and just kind of were like, let's just see what the vibe's like if we're all on stage together. And we had so much fun just screwing around that we were like, oh, dude, all right, we got to like, then it became like addicting. We are like, oh, we got to book more. And then we booked the Whiskey and filmed that as our first show, like technically first show. And ever since that, it's just been like, it's crazy how it was like this in the back burner kind of, we never thought about the band, and then now it's just become such a top priority, which has been awesome. It's like everything we wanted it to be, but we just never for some reason had faith in it. It was just like, really, man, you're gonna throw For the Glory out there on Spotify and it's gonna magically get like 50 million streams. That's something we never happen. So we're just so grateful, dude. And it was always the goal to, like, at least for me and most of us, it's like we've always wanted to be on stage and tour. That's always been like the goal. We're just lucky enough to reach so many people through film and TV and stuff.
Yeah, man, that's cool. And it's a different animal. I mean, I would imagine it's completely different. When you're working with this group in the studio, you can do your own thing, be a little bit off, and everything can be fixed. And everybody's doing their own tracking, and it's not a live show. So
totally. And that's the beauty of like you said, it's our own studio, so we have the freedom to do whatever we want. It's not like we've only kind of co-written maybe a song or two, only one that might make the new record, and like, so we've really had the freedom to get creative and do what we think sounds cool and what we want to be in the song. And I think a lot of times it's really, really hard to convince people, especially in the industry, that a self-produced album or song is like worthy. You know what I mean? It's right. A lot of times you need a great mix, or you need a huge name on something attached to something to get any sort of attention. And we've been so lucky that some of these songs have gotten big enough to where people, I think, kind of overlooked that. I mean, Andrew mixed the whole record and produced it, and yeah, it's awesome. It's like people are accepting us for what we are. It's awesome.
Totally. I mean, you guys have obviously proven that you can be successful without having a Michael Wagner attached to it, or Rick Rubin or something like that.
I mean, I would love to work with those guys too. It's like huge names and like legends and stuff. It's just that was another thing. It's like, hey, we're just throwing this out and mixing it ourselves. It's hard to imagine it like leveling up to some of those epic mixes and songs that are out there. So
sounds great to me, man. Sounds great to me. How does the writing work for you guys? Just like the three that you mentioned, do you have outside writers at all, or who's contributing?
It's just mainly the three of us, me, Andrew, and Liz. And yeah, it's for the most part, it's the three of us. We'll bring in Miles and Tim, and we'll bash out some ideas and jam some stuff. But a lot of the times I love the trio, man. I've always loved writing in threes. I'm a very indecisive person. So like, I love being able to throw out a lyric or a melody and just let two people tell me like, hey, that's cool, or it's not. And usually if you get the majority votes, like I'm always on the fence on almost everything. I'm so indecisive about everything in my life, dude. So a lot of times I'll be like, hey, let me throw this out. Is this stupid? And they'll be like, dude, that's epic. What is that? Or oh, I think this is awesome, man. How about this line? I'll be like, you've already used that, dude. That's cheesy. Like, like bounce stuff off of people. We've had a lot of, I don't know if to say success doing that, but it feels good being able to, all iron it out, the three of us. It's not too many, chefs in the kitchen. It's right. Like Andrew kind of lets Liz and I do the lyric thing. We kind of split lyrics 50-50, which is also really cool because I think in the end, we're both so particular about what goes into the song and how words are saying. And if we're, reusing concepts, that we kind of just fight it out for even an afternoon, might be a week or two. Like sometimes we go back and forth for weeks just rewriting choruses, and like, wow. Liz has a thing where she has her best ideas in the shower. So every once in a while I'll be like, dude, we got to change this chorus. And I'll be like, really? I just was happy with it. But yeah, we go back and forth a lot. And I think overall, though, it makes the song better. Because once we're all happy with it, like Kingdom, for example, that was the first single that's going to be on our new album. It came out in the fall last year. And we rewrote that verse like 6 times or something like that. And we got to the point where it's like one of my favorite verses to sing. But it, that battle where you kind of like work it out between us, in the end, it always seems to make a better product.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. When you're writing, have you ever written specifically for something, like for licensing, where a film comes to you and says, we're going to have this scene where this guy does this and we need a song that fits that. Have you ever written like that?
Not really, man. Honestly, no. Like, well, yes and no. Yes and no. There's this one time we got asked to write a song for a wrestler, like a Lucha Underground wrestler named Johnny Mundo.
Okay.
And it was kind of just like this goofy hard rock. It's called Welcome to Slamtown. There's actually a music video on YouTube. You can check it out.
Okay.
But I don't think he's much of a singer. He ended up, they had me like throw down the vocal and I like sang it through. And then they had Johnny come in and like go shirtless and like he's like flexing and singing. It's like kind of like hilarious when you watch a video too, because he's kind of got that character where he's trying to be the cockiest, coolest guy in the world.
Right.
Totally his character, and it's perfect. But yeah, he's shirtless and he's playing like the drums and he like singing "Welcome to Slamtown." But it's really funny because it's like probably like 70% of my voice like over his. So when it's like my voice coming out of his mouth when you watch it back, which is hilarious.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. We never really do like specific for scenes or like, hey, right for this. It's just like they happen to think that our music works well with whatever footage they're working with.
Man, that's great. That's really great.
I mean, it would be cool to score something at some point. I'm not opposed to like doing that, but it just hasn't fallen into our lap necessarily.
Yeah, and when I listen to your stuff, it and the way they put it into a lot of the scenes, like for advertising, television especially, it is very atmospheric, like a score, more than a song. You take those portions, so I could definitely see you writing a score, and that's that would be exciting.
Yeah, that would be super cool. I would love to either do that or maybe work with like someone who has scored some really cool orchestral kind of soundtracks and like kind of bring that into the band even more so. I love that we have that cinematic kind of futuristic sounding kind of electronic stuff too. So it kind of gives us room to grow in that direction. Our next album is it's a pretty straightforward rock album, but I love that we have so many songs that sound so different from each other, and it kind of gives us room in the future if we do want to do a more orchestrated album or re-release songs with an orchestra. It would be fitting. I don't think it would be a stretch to take our stuff and kind of move it that direction. It's kind of like we're really a hard rock band, but a lot of our stuff's really melodic. That's why I like when we'll play acoustic, it kind of seems to translate to acoustic, or if we want to throw it over strings, it might seem to work well. So we've had a lot of fun just screwing around and bashing out music and getting lucky with listeners. It's been really awesome, man.
That's cool. And you're all in the same area, right? You're basically in the same room when you write, right?
Yeah, totally. We all live in LA, man. We're all Valley people and we're all like pretty much neighbors. So I can pop over to anyone's house. I've got my studio right here. So I can have vocals here if I need to. And then they've got their studio for drums, guitars, and everything. But yeah, it's nice. And my drummer's got his own studio in his garage. So it's like if we do need to pull something together, even in like a virus, we can still track separately and make stuff or demo or do whatever we need to do.
Man, that's way cool. Way cool. Are you a touring band? Are you gonna try and put something together? Things are opening up.
Finally, man. We had a ton of tours. I don't want to say a ton of tours lined up, but we did have a couple of tours booked for last summer. And then the virus hit, obviously everyone canceled everything, but we were really looking forward to playing. We've only done like 2 shows as this band. We played, hundreds in other bands, but as far as all good things on stage together and not live streaming, we've done probably 12 live streams over last year, but on stage in front of people, we've done 2 shows as a band, which is kind of crazy to me. We have a whole fall booked. I haven't been able to really announce what tours we're going on, but we do have 2 tours coming up, bunch of festivals. We're playing Aftershock in Sacramento. Welcome to Rockville and Daytona is an awesome festival. Today, I think we're announcing a cruise that we're doing in February. I think the band is supposed to post it while I'm on the chat with you, but we're doing a cruise to Belize in February with a Rock Zombie and a bunch of cool bands. So
Mastodon. I just got a one sheet for that.
Come on, bro. It's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, man. 2022, and I was like, I could maybe do that. That's plenty of advance notice on that one.
I always want to do one of those like music cruises, dude. I just never thought I'd be fucking playing it too. It just sounds epic, man. It sounds like a ultimate band vacay. They should turn it into a reality show, really. It's
Yeah, man, no doubt.
I would definitely watch that, man.
I would too. I'm like I say, I'm a 52-year-old guy. I grew up on the Love Boat. You know what I mean? And ever since then, I was like, that's my bucket list item, man. And I'm obviously a huge music fan. So you put the two together, man. Cruise and music. Oh,
perfect.
Sign me up, man.
Man, when we got the offer in, the night before we got the offer for the cruise, I watched there's a documentary about the last cruise, like in China, that when the virus took over and they're stranded on there. And like, man, we got the offer the next day. I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. And like, I think Liz is still on the fence about it too. We're kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get stuck on a boat for a couple of months just in case it goes south. Like, but no, I don't know. And after the next day, I was like, what am I talking about? That's going to be the most epic time ever. Like, of course.
Oh yeah, it is. I can't wait.
On tour dates, man. We're going to be starting our tour in mid-August, and then pretty much there through Christmas, we're going to be on the road. So a lot of shows coming up. I can't wait.
Cool, man. I'm in Chicago. You guys got something set?
Yeah, dude. We got at least one day in Chicago. I think it's on the first tour, so probably like August, September. I'm hoping, but we'll keep in touch. I'll definitely try to get you out to a show, man. It'd be sick.
Yeah, I'd love to see you, shake your hand, give you a hug, man. It's
great. Shake hands.
I miss that, man. I miss that for sure. So Dan, man, it's been a great time. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. It's a great hang, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. What's your cat's name, by the way? You never introduced me.
This is Goblin.
Goblin, nice.
Goblin.
I see him walking all over you, man. He just seems like a chill dude.
He is, man. He hangs out all the time. Every interview I get, every conversation I have, and he's my little buddy, no doubt.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I'm a big cat guy, dude. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Too cool. Too cool.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can kick in person and pick out the show. And dude, come on that cruise, brother. That'd be awesome.
Oh, that would be great, man. I'm gonna give it a shot for sure.
Yeah, we got about 6 months to figure that one out. So yeah, maybe I'll see you there.
All right, man.
Dude, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks so much, bud. Take care.
Hey, have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.